Today's presentation will cover the symbolism of animals, a brief global examination of animal symbolism through the use of imagery in various art mediums. I thought we'd start off with a few creatures that we actually have a little bit of exposure to. In our Western culture, many of us view the eagle as a symbol of freedom and liberty. In the East, the panda is a symbol of peace and good fortune, and we may look at it as curious, kind, playful, and sensitive. Some cultures look at the owl as a symbol of wisdom, and the dolphin, superior intelligence. These four animals are simply a lead-in to looking at a historical view of how artists have used animals in their work and for certain purposes and reasons that we're going to explore a little bit more. Let's look at the first one. This large statue can be deceiving. This is the lion human. It was found in Hohensteinstadel, Germany, about 30,000 to 26,000 BCE. And let's get one thing started off the bat. BCE stands for Before Common Era. If you think about that, this statue, this sculpture in the round, was created almost 32,000 years ago with simple tools, but must have had a huge importance for this to be sculpted and created. There really is no written history on this, but one of the oldest statues carved from a mammoth ivory to be found in the world. And actually it's really not that big, only about 11 3/4 inches. Now the dating relates to carbon dating. And if you're familiar with carbon dating, it's a C14 carbon that as things die, it slowly decays, and scientists have been able to measure this. And once again, it's only an estimate. If we look and we examine this picture here, this is actually fairly old as well. 15,000 to 13,000 BCE, almost 17,000 years old. A figure who could be a hunter, highly stylized but recognizably male and wearing a bird's head mask, appears to be lying on the ground. A great bison looms above him. Below him lie a staff or baton and a spear thrower, a device that allows hunters to throw farther and with greater force, the outer end of which has been carved in the shape of a bird. The long diagonal line across the bison's hindquarters is a spear. The bison has been disemboweled. Now we're not exactly sure why this was created, but the location is really important. These caves in Lascaux were not simply accessible easily from the outside. These were dark, deep parts of the cave that would have had to been specifically chosen and would have been quite a journey to get to. Now it's not really sure about the origin, but the likely theory is that it depicts the visions of a shaman, a person regarded as having access to and influence in the world of good and evil spirits, especially among some peoples of Northern Asia and North America. Typically, such people enter a trance state during a ritual and practice divination and healing. This is another slide illustrating cave paintings as well. This was also found in Lascaux. Bison shedding. This is something that will happen in the spring. Think about those of you that have a dog. They build up a strong winter coat during the fall months so that during the winter they stay warm. And then when the spring they start to shed all that winter hair to be cool for the spring and the summer. This is a tortoise-shaped inkstone. Chinese Han Dynasty, 206 BCE to 220 CE, or Common Era. 4 inches high, 10 inches long, and would have been used as a stone mortar for grinding and containment of ink. Traditional East Asian ink is solidified into sticks. A small amount of water can be applied to the end of an ink stick, and that end would have been ground into the flat surface of the inkstone. A larger quantity of ink can be ground from a small pool of water placed on the inkstone. Think about the use of a tortoise or a turtle. What kind of symbols does the tortoise represent in our culture? This is a small moche, monkey pot. This is actually a reproduction. This would have been press molded, a two-piece cast, slipped and scored together, and a monkey from Peru. It's local. It's on the coast of South America, a warm climate. And these are specific animals specific to this area. It's a stirrup pot, which means, as you look at the next slide, it has a loop and a spout. Now the use is unknown specifically, and as you can see in here, acted as a great handle or even as a pouring spout. This is a vessel in the shape of a stylized fish with an anthropomorphic figure sitting on its back. So anthropomorphic means having human characteristics. Another moche pot. Fish, northern coast of Peru, close to the ocean, seems very fitting. Common era, 200 to 600 years. This is a small monkey figurine, also from moche. 1000 Common Era. I've had a lot of conversations with students over the years about this dog. And I know anybody that's had a dog and looks at this one might be slightly mixed on what this dog is doing. Think about this. If you approached a dog showing all its teeth, ears pointed, tail pointed, and legs at attention, how likely would you be to walk up and pet this dog? I don't know about me. I probably wouldn't. But if you think about it, this dog is kind of plump. It almost looks like it's smiling. So I'm kind of torn either way. Good, evil. Pre-Columbian Mexico, Colima pottery, 100 BCE to 250 CE. It's hollow and the tail is actually a spout. And it's been highly polished with a stone with slip applied. Beautiful example. And why dogs? What symbols do dogs hold in our culture? This is a pair of classic Peruvian dogs, dog cups. So ugly they're wonderful. Chewing on a little morsel. This is a pouring vessel in the form of a caparisoned elephant with a spout on the shoulder. Elephants are beautifully decorated during temple festivals. They wear a distinctive golden head covering. As you can see, some of this decoration on the actual vessel. It's opened in the inside and has a small spout right next to the shoulder. In Thailand, an elephant would be very commonplace. We probably wouldn't find these things in the United States. At this time, there would have been no elephants, and the only elephants that we really see, think about this, are in zoos. In their natural environment, we'd never see one here. They wouldn't survive in our climate. This item might seem fairly, perhaps, common. I made a joke. Tutankhamun, think about that. The funerary mask. Young king, really not that important in the history of Egypt, but has two distinct symbols of Egyptian mythology. The Egyptian vulture, and the vulture is a tool-using animal. Egyptian vultures are specialists in egg eating. They are among the only birds in the world to use stones as tools. They will repeatedly strike at an abandoned ostrich egg with stones, then use their beak to enlarge the hole and penetrate the membrane. Then it feasts on the oozing interior of the egg. In ancient Egypt, the vulture is considered to be near to God, who is believed to reside in the sky. And the cobra. The ancient Egyptians worshipped the cobra and used it as a symbol on the crown of the pharaohs. It is used as a protective symbol, where the Egyptians believed that the cobra would spit fire at any approaching enemies. Tutankhamun, reigned 1333 to 1323 BCE. This is a small model totem from the Northwest Coast Native Americans. This next group of images are images that I really connect myself to. I really enjoy the design, the symbolisms, and I think their artwork is beautiful, so I chose to include a few examples. This is a small model totem carved about 1900 BCE and painted with natural pigments from the Kwakiutl tribe. And the artist, Charlie James, this is actually a representation of his ancestral crest of his family, of the artist's mother. On the top we have an eagle, or the thunderbird, a powerful and mystical leader. Next, we have the killer whale, guardian of the sea, a symbol of travel. Next, we have a chief and the raven following the chief, a symbol of creation and knowledge, a bringer of light. And at the bottom, we have the bear, a symbol of strength and learned humility, motherhood, and teaching. This is a Kaukiotl chief, dressed in a blanket, decorated with mother-of-pearl trade buttons, holding his raven rattle and speaker staff. We'll get a close-up of one of these rattles in the next slide. This is a chief's rattle from Yakutat, Alaska. The main animal in this is an oyster catcher. It's a strikingly colored, wading bird that is always the first to sound the alarm and take wing at any sign of danger, thus serving as a kind of guardian for other birds, as the shaman does for humans. That is also a superb diver. It makes it an ideal helper for the shaman on his travels to the underworld. The bird's body terminates in the head of a mountain goat, an animal closely associated with the shaman and an important source of his power. Between the horns sits a figure of a shaman, subduing a witch or hostile shaman in the Tlingit manner, by twisting his long hair and tying it to bound his arms. This is a Tlingit shaman rattle, which may be one of the oldest of its kind. Certainly it was made before 1800. Let me back up for one moment. On the rattle lies a shaman, pulling mightily on the tongue of a mountain goat. This is because the tongues of certain animals, especially mountain goats and otters, are among the most important power objects a novice shaman can acquire on his initial vision quest and on subsequent occasions. The goat's agility in leaping across perilous chasms is analogous to the shaman's leap from the world of the human to the non-human, while its horns relate to its own metaphorical horn of power. The shaman does not pursue the animal, rather it is said to come to him unbidden, dropping dead on its own violation at its feet as he sits in lonely vigil and sensory deprivation in some secluded spot. He pulls out its tongue, cuts it, and hides it where it will not be agitated by sounds reminding it of its former life. The twin figures on this rattle may be specific to the family history of its owner, but the tentacles across the side refer to another powerful shaman's ally, the octopus. This is a multiple mask with movable beak representing the giant man-eating bird spirits that guard the cannibal spirit, man-eater at the north end of the world, carved in 1938. The next is a transformation mask. And according to Kwakiutl creation stories, There once was a time when the only difference between birds, fish, animals, and humans was their skin covering, and they all could transform themselves into other forms at will. Animals could become humans, and humans could become animals. These ideas still guide religious traditions and make up the meaning of this transformation mask. If you're interested, a part of a dance is available on the MIA's website, where the mask is opened and closed, showing the transformation of humans and animals. This is a griffin rhyton. A rhyton is a horn-shaped cup. And this is an example that was found in modern-day Iran, 6th century BCE, a horn-shaped cup. And just for those of you who are not quite sure what the griffin is, it's a mythical creature with the head and wings of an eagle and the body of a lion, typically depicted with pointed ears and with the eagle's legs taking the place of its forelegs. I'm sure there are a lot of Harry Potter fans out there that this is common knowledge, but for the rest of us, a simple definition. And the last image in my presentation is a goat head rhyton. These horn-shaped cups were a symbol of power and imperial majesty. Not any average Joe off the street could acquire one of these rhytons. Sometimes they were formed from actual horns, or in this case, porcelain, clay, from the artist Beth Kavanagh Stitcher, created in 2002. I think what appeals to me the most is the almost look of death on the face of this goat. Eyes squinted, loose skin. Very interesting. So what I'd like to finish with is there is this desire to acquire the abilities of certain animals, harness their powers. Think about our favorite superheroes, are great examples of this. They have the ability to fly, spin webs, and have tremendous strength. What I want you to do with the information that I presented today is think about, do you have any of your animals on that list that may have a personal or cultural meaning? And how can you incorporate that into your creature shaker? I hope you've enjoyed this information that's been presented today. And if you have any questions, I have a great selection of books on many cultures and the mythology that is the foundation of their set of beliefs. Thank you.